Welcome back to our continuous coverage of our first winter storm of the season. I'm Larry Miller. It is shaping up to be a busy afternoon as the storm, as Topper predicted way back in October, is now here. And we are talking about what this impact it's having on the metro. Already, we're starting to see black ice form, and we saw an accident associated with it. That's the video that you're seeing right there. We could potentially see a lot more accidents similar to the one that you see there, because we have black ice really forming up along much of the metro right now. We've been talking about the varying degrees of snow that you will see. Depending on where you live, you could see a trace to an inch, even some areas 12 inches of snow. I believe Howard Bernstein talked about Pennsylvania seeing about 2 feet, depending on where you live there.
Yeah, 2.5 feet up in the Scranton area, maybe State College 1.5 feet. It's going to be hammer time. Allentown, Bethlehem also about 2 feet. But for us, we're just a little bit too far south and east. So snow lovers, we're getting a little tease in D.C. We may pick up an inch, inch and a half in spots in the district before it's over. But this will become a wet afternoon, especially south of town. We may hang on to sleet and rain for several more hours, but in Northwest D.C., just posted a video to Instagram and it's uploaded to Twitter momentarily. Topper's got one out there. It was coming down pretty good on the weather terrace. So what are we looking at, right? Still, we're sticking with our numbers. Generally trace to an inch D.C. We go trace even in places like Charles County. There was sleet, and I believe sleet comes in as a trace of snow. Or if it's enough, they'll measure how much sleet, but that gets in the snow column. So we even know Leonardtown had some sleet, and a lot of freezing rain and sleet going on still across areas in central Virginia. You get north and west of D.C. where still snow, but they're going to go over to sleet. And the other concern is freezing rain. That could be another big problem in some areas. And flooding, also a problem. We've got flood watches up, ground saturated, so we get an inch, inch and a half of rain in areas, which looks pretty likely, especially D.C. south and east. There could be flood concerns. So yeah, there's a lot on the table at this lunch hour on this Wednesday. So I'll zoom in to show you that Fairfax County, better chance to get that inch, let's say in Fairfax City, than down towards Lorton, right? And northern Fairfax County, maybe 2 inches, 2.5. It's not out of the question. Same story in central and southern Montgomery and most of Howard County. But when you get to western Howard, upper Montgomery, Leesburg, out to Percival, looks like 3 to 6. They're going to have snow longer, they're going to have sleet longer, and even some freezing rain. They may never get above freezing. Clarksburg may never get above freezing. Leesburg might struggle to get above freezing. Even Culpeper may struggle to get above freezing. So even though they're going to switch over to rain, it could be freezing rain. 1/10 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch of ice is not out of the question. Maybe even locally higher than that with this system where it doesn't get above freezing. And then you stay far enough north, even though we expect mixing in Frederick and over toward Charlestown and out west toward Winchester, Berryville, Martinsburg, they're still going to get 6+ and maybe a foot toward Hagerstown where they could potentially stay snow the entire time or 90–95% of the storm. Here it is, midday. We've got all sorts of precipitation on the map. The green is the rain you're used to. The white, blue, that would be snow, heavy snow in the blue. And the pink and purple, that is either sleet or freezing rain. The pinkish is the freezing rain here, and that's the concern. The purple was the sleet, which you see toward the D.C. area. Had reports just before noon in Alexandria and Springfield of sleet. We know also Annandale had some snow sleet mixing in, got reports there, but also some 2-inch snow totals from Front Royal at about 11. So we're already picking up the snow. An inch up in Smithsburg just before noon. That's in eastern Washington County. Looked like there was about 1/2 inch to an inch in upper Montgomery as well from Damascus to Clarksburg. I'm going to zoom in on the radar. One thing we're looking at, see the bright colors here? Culpeper, Warrenton, over toward Prince William County and just west of D.C., out 66. You'd think it's snow to beat the band. There's probably some big fat flakes, but I believe there's also quite a bit of sleet mixing in. Tough to tell here, and then this looks like it's rain and sleet. So I'm going to switch from the reflectivity to what's called the correlation coefficient. And Doppler radar does a lot of neat things. And in this mode, all it's saying is, all right, do I have all the same or different types of precipitation? So the correlation coefficient shows you where you've got pretty similar colors. All this red, yeah, that's pretty much snow, the same sort of precip. But when you get to the yellows here that we have on our scale, this is that mix. This is the mix from snow to sleet, freezing rain, and you see it where we saw those big radar echoes, if you remember, I'm going to back up just one, I think, and you can see here. So we've probably got some big wet flakes and a little sleet mixing in, but when you get the big flakes, that's a sign that you're really close to that line of snow and sleet and freezing rain, and that's what we're looking at there. So in that area, we've got the sleet, and it's just coming in toward D.C., the south side over to National, Alexandria. That's why we're getting those reports of sleet, but moderate snow and sleet to our north and west, and farther north, we've got all of this area with temperatures in the upper 20s to around 30. This is accumulating snow sticking to untreated surfaces.
So, Howard, in addition to that, of course, for our friends at home, if you have pictures, videos that you would love to share with us, we would certainly love to see them. You can send it to us on social media using the hashtag WSA9Weather. You can also text them to us at 202-895-5599. And if you would like more information on the forecast itself, specifically about where you and your family live, you can text the word snow to the number on your screen, and we will send you the latest information, a timeline, updates, even interactive radar right to your mobile device. Now, you heard Howard talk about the changing road conditions, and we're starting to see it really all over the metro right now. I want to bring in our Delia Gonzalez. She's riding around in our Weather Explorer in Southeast DC. Delia, we understand that the roads there were pre-treated, and that's really going to be critical to helping to maintain at least some of the conditions that we're seeing there on the roads right now.
Absolutely, Larry. And you can see we're now on Branch Avenue here in Southeast, heading into the Penn Branch neighborhood. And you can see we are behind some DPW crews. In fact, we've been behind them since shortly after noon. We picked them up on Capitol Hill. They started salting the road. So one, we not only had these main thoroughfares in DC pre-treated with that brine mixture that you were talking about last night, crews are now back on our roads on these main thoroughfares like Pennsylvania Avenue, Branch Avenue, a lot of these roads that are heavily traveled from folks coming in from Prince George's County, commuting through the city. We now have crews dropping down salt. And so in this Penn Branch neighborhood and Hillcrest as well that we just passed through, as you can imagine, listen to the name Hillcrest, known for lots of hills in this area, so certainly that would be treacherous should there be any kind of slick conditions on the roads. But so far so good. I can tell you the roads are looking a bit slushy right now as we make our way to the Massachusetts Avenue Circle here, where we will pick up Minnesota Avenue and continue to northeast DC in Ward 7. So you can see we are following two DPW crews continuing to drop down their salt. The roads have been pretty passable so far. Again, not a lot of accumulation. At this point, we've been seeing really changing conditions here in DC. Like I said, we had short bursts of some significant snowflakes, big fluffy snow, and then as soon as it came, it would disappear. And now we're getting a bit of rain. So it's been that mixture really of snow, a quiet spell, and then a little bit of rain. Since about 10:30 this morning, I walked out of the house shortly after 10, just light drops, almost a sleet sound to the rain coming down, and then kind of this touch and go. And so we're going to continue to monitor conditions here in DC. We'll go into Prince George's County and see what the conditions look like there. But for now, I'm going to give you one last look here on the streets of Southeast, and we're going to toss it right back to you. Larry?
Well, Delia, it's interesting that you talked about that mix, because that's exactly what Topper as well as Howard were talking about, specifically about kind of what we're going to be seeing along that line. And I believe that section of DC was going to really be in that kind of that snow, that rain mix that makes driving a bit dangerous. One question for you before I let you go. I'm curious about the driver behavior out there. I see some of the drivers doing well, slowing down, taking it easy, allowing extra distance between them and the cars in front and behind. What are you seeing?
Much of the same here, Larry, including our photojournalist, Dion Wiggins, who's doing a great job behind the wheel of our Weather Explorer as well. Folks, as you can imagine, not a ton of traffic. It's not your typical Wednesday afternoon commute here in Washington, D.C. And I'm sure crews are thankful for that because it allows them that time, that free reign to come and clear and treat the roads. We do have some traffic, but as you said, folks have their lights on, seem to be respecting the conditions, and we know it doesn't take a whole lot of accumulation on the ground and on these roads for it to be slick, and so that is certainly so important and crucial to the pre-treating. Even with a slight moisture on the ground, we could still have some treacherous driving conditions. So as you said, let's hope that these drivers proceed with caution throughout the day. Even though we may not have significant snowfall in DC, we should still take it easy.
And that really is the double-edged sword of the pandemic, right? Because as a result of the pandemic, we've seen far fewer people outside of their homes, driving around town, even taking public transportation. So when crews need to respond to pre-treating the roads and preparing them for storms like this, it makes it a lot easier for them. So Delia, thank you so much. We will check back in with you in a bit. In the meantime, let's take it to Virginia right now, where our Matthew Torres is in Leesburg, Virginia, giving us an update on the conditions out there. The last time we saw him, it looked like a winter wonderland out there, almost postcard perfect, so to speak. Matthew, what are you seeing out there right now?
Larry, it is still that postcard moment. In fact, we kind of just got a little bit closer to the Christmas decorations at this parking garage over here. We're still in the square area of Leesburg, where really for the past 20 minutes or so, we have been seeing those trucks coming down, up and down this road. Some of them, it looks like they're now putting down the salt mixture as the accumulation of snow is building up here on the roads. I just want to show you here on the sidewalk just the kind of the powdery of the snow that's been building up here. Now, as Delia is back in DC, we're also seeing the same thing where it's now the slushy mixture down here on the roads. And so as far as driving habits, I think that's what's been helpful, is that people have been driving slow down here. You can see where it's kind of melted and you see the path of the tire tracks, which is a good thing. And overall, people have been driving slow at a decent pace. There hasn't been and they haven't been speeding. So that's a good sign that things have been at least slow out here. I just want to keep walking over here just to give you an idea of how much snow has already blanketed and how we've seen a lot of people just hanging out, really taking the time to enjoy the snow. A lot of people that we spoke to, at least several of them, a few of them have actually been out of town, so this is really a good change of pace for them to be out here and actually get to experience the snow in December. Here is where it gets a little bit tricky, because we have noticed as drivers are making the turn at this particular intersection, that's either their tires start acting up, that's when they have to slow down. We've actually seen one of the trucks have to almost make a U-turn because of how it got a little bit slick there in the middle of the intersection. Nothing major so far, which is the good sign. We have reached out to VDOT to also get an update out there on the interstates and on the roads. And speaking of a truck, we actually have one coming down here right now, making that left. So really, they have been nonstop working. To give you an idea, I spoke to one gentleman. He's been up since 5 o'clock this morning. He's been on standby. They've been given almost zones, particularly not all of them are with the town of Leesburg. Some of them are actually contracted to work for the town to make sure the roads are clear, including this one right here. And so they have specific routes that they have to go to. And like I said earlier, nonstop. It seems like they're really on top of things out here in Leesburg. Larry?
You know, Matt, you had an opportunity to speak with quite a few people this morning and this afternoon. I'm curious, from the people that you've been able to speak with, how has this changed their mood? You know, the past few months have been difficult for many because of COVID, because of the economy. And I can imagine if you like the weather, if you like winter and snow, that this certainly lifts the spirits a bit.
Definitely. There's a sense of joy among people. We actually earlier just saw a bunch of kids just throwing snow, making snowballs. You may hear the sound. That's, again, the truck, again, coming down this road, making sure it's clear, removing all of what's been built up. But to answer your question, Larry, it really has lightened the mood for several of the people here. Just being able to walk around, a change of scenery, a change of environment. Even though there's not a lot of people out here, you could see some of them, even if it's just simply getting coffee or simply just walking around. I think it's such a different world and a different change of pace than what we have been used to. And so the fact that we're actually seeing the large snowflakes, I think it's something that people really can get excited for, and so I agree with them.
Yeah, sometimes the smallest things really are the biggest things. Matthew Torres reporting live in Leesburg for us this morning, or this afternoon rather. Matthew, thank you so much. Let's take you out to Maryland right now, to Montgomery County, where our Bruce LaShan is in Damascus. Last time we saw him, he was shoveling snow in a parking lot. And Bruce, you've been out there for some time. I can imagine, not only are people excited, but they're also taking the necessary precautions to make sure they're safe during this storm.
Well, that's for sure, and there is not as much traffic as you might normally see, but take a look. The plow is here in the 7-Eleven parking lot, getting ready to plow out this parking lot, and I've been parked here for about an hour, and take a look at how much snow is on my car here. I mean, it's a good half-inch or more has come down just in that amount of time. And if we get out the ruler and kind of take it out and just put it in the parking lot, Mario, or you want me to come up close to you? I'll come up close here. And I'd say that there's probably an inch or so on the grassy surfaces here. And it is plenty, as you said, to have to start shoveling. And who knows, I mean, I don't know what your strategy is. Do you shovel it off now, or do you wait until it switches over to rain and hope that the rain just washes it away? I think that's what a lot of people are going to be doing today. Talk to a plow operator, John. He's a contractor with State Highway. We're looking at 27 here right in the heart of Damascus. And you can see, despite the efforts of the plow operators, that it is snow covered. John said he was just putting salt down. They did a lot of pre-treatment. He was putting salt down. He says the salt just isn't keeping up with it. Here comes the plow for the 7-Eleven right now. Anyway, he said he put salt down, and that wasn't keeping up with it, and he said he was going to have to put his blade down and start pushing snow around here. We're kind of at the line, Larry, 3 to 6, 1 to 3, something like that in upper Northwest. I was looking at the radar on our little map, which is incredible. The WUSA 9 weather app has the radar just come up on it, and you could see that moving through. And it seemed to suggest that it was going to switch over to something else about 3:30 or so in Damascus. Of course, the worst of it is out here kind of to the north and the west, which is why we came up this way to see the worst of it. And in terms of Montgomery County, you can see what it looks like. It's still snowing real good. There are some cars coming through. Plows are not really keeping up with the snow. And it's probably a smart idea just to stay home for a little bit, stay warm inside. And then if it doesn't turn over to rain in your area, maybe you can go out and play around and have a good time with the kids or what have you. Larry?
Yeah, it really just depends on where you are. But where you are, we actually had one of our weather watchers reach out to us, letting us know that in Damascus, it's just above 26 degrees, so that's below the freezing mark. For you, does it feel that cold? And because we certainly know when we're dealing with temperatures that low.
You know what? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, when we're dealing with temperatures that low.
It was 29 degrees.
Go ahead.
It was 29 degrees when we were driving up here, Larry. And then I got out of the car, and I have 2 pairs of gloves. I have these one kind of lighter gloves that I used so that I can work on the phone and, play with all the equipment. Then I had a heavier set of gloves. And when I did the first live shot with you in the noon show, I was wearing the light gloves and my hands were freezing and I was cold. Went back to the car, got the heavier set of gloves, and these ones are keeping me warm and nice, but I got one of each so that I can do my thing out here and work with the phone. These things definitely don't work very well with the phone.
Well, there's a CVS, I think, that's right across the street. We're going to come back to you in like 15 minutes, so you might want to run over there and get some more gloves if you need them.
Get some of those hot things that you stick in there, right?
I know. All right, we appreciate all that you do.
One of those big heat wraps. Dave Satchel, one of our photographers who does sports all the time, he goes and gets one of those big body heat wraps, he says, when he has to cover a game.
Wow.
And he could stand out with one of those heat wraps for hours in the snow and says he's fine. So that's an idea for folks.
Yeah, we'll have to give that a shot too. Thank you, Bruce. Let's turn it over right now to the chief, Topper Schutt. Topper, you predicted this storm weeks ago that it would happen on this day. From what you've seen thus far, is it lining up the way that you predicted?
Well, it's lining up the way we predicted it last night and this morning. It really is. And for the most part, we've been talking about it since last week. And we said it wouldn't be a pure snow, and it has not been a pure snow. I want to share this. This is our, oh, okay. Can we go to the computer for a second? I'm sorry. Can we share this? This is James Hash. This is James Hash's picture. There's 270, and it is snow covered. So, again, some of the roads that have been brined are seeing snowfall rates a little faster than it can melt. So please be careful. If you have to do some travel, we did recommend you not be on the roads between noon and midnight. Okay, now we'll go live shot. We have live shot Frederick first or Winchester first? This is Frederick. Now you folks are, in the kind of on the 3 to 6 band, so you've got some pretty good snow, and the roads, secondary roads, are a mess. And for you kids, once it gets to a point where you can sled, go sled, even if you're in Frederick, because you're going to get some mixing and the sledding will go downhill. No pun intended. All right, Winchester. What does that Winchester look like? There we go, Winchester. Winchester, you should mainly be snow all day. You might have a brief mix of sleet, and you're in the 6 to 12 plus band, and you can see the roads are covered and quite a mess at this point. Okay, so our pretty much our final call. Haven't really changed this much in the last 24 hours. A trace to an inch, D.C. and south. There's the 6 to 12, and that's because essentially that's mainly snow, Hagerstown, Martinsburg, and Winchester. 3 to 6 through Leesburg, kind of in between Frederick and Gaithersburg, and then essentially an inch to trace, D.C. south. We got a little corner of northwest D.C. From 1 to 3 inches. So take you through it. 12:30, this is where the snow is now. And yes, as Howard was mentioning, temperatures well below freezing up here, and we don't think temps are going to get above freezing. The models may be eroding the cold air a little too fast. But look, by 2 o'clock, we have heavy rain now approaching D.C. And now we have heavy rain also into southern Maryland, where, yes, flood watches have been posted. By 5 o'clock, heavy rain gets a little further north. The mix gets past Frederick, which is why I want the kids to go sledding now. And then by the time we get to 8 o'clock, mix turns around, becomes to move back to the north, back from the north to the south as cold air moves in. Still, temperatures below freezing out to the west, but I think 38 may be about right for D.C., but I think 34 for Gaithersburg may be too high, and 35 for Manassas may be too high. It's going to struggle to get to freezing in places like that. By 11 o'clock, snow tries to develop again up to the north and swing through the metro area overnight between about midnight and about 2 o'clock with temperatures at or below freezing. So tomorrow morning, even in areas that didn't have a lot of snow, could still have some slick spots with black ice, with what looks wet will actually be ice. So please keep that in mind. By 6 a.m., we are done with everything, although clouds will hang on and linger for a while. So, all right, so we are looking at the winter storm warning, Loudoun County West, Upper McGowney County West, and winter weather advisories right along I-95, mainly west of 95. And yes, it's bizarre, but in addition to that, we have flood watches for the immediate metro area and points south as well. So really, best to stay off the roads because even heavy rain can be dangerous.
It looks like a lot of people are already heeding that advice. We are seeing fewer cars than ever before on the roads. That, of course, in part to the pandemic as well. But it's really helping these crews out here treat the roads properly and to elevate the condition as quickly as they possibly can. So we appreciate all that they do. And of course, we appreciate you as well, Topper. Thank you so much. Our coverage will continue throughout the day on our mobile app and our website. If you have questions, feel free to drop a question down below in the comment section. I'm Larry Miller. Have a great afternoon.
Strava, and NASDAQ up 41. Dow Jones traffic weather next. Heroes has provided a helping hand to our community during these challenging times. WMAL on Main Street Day, running through the news each month, will be awarding a beautiful, veteran-crafted wooden American flag from Bronx Valley to one of our everyday heroes nominees.
What a fucking waste of time.
Responders, medical staff, military, or anyone who is selflessly serving our communities. WMAL's Everyday Heroes is presented by Main Street Day. WMAL.com/heroes.
Rest of the week in my 4-day forecast coming up.
All right, now, San Antonio, WTOP's Luke Woodard comes in French right now. I feel like Han Solo looking out over the ice planet of
Hash, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no. I'd stop to clear some snow off and get a rain cover on my camera. Yep. Okay.
West.